All right, let's bring back in Senior Counselor for Trade and Manufacturing, Peter Navarro. We got through the technical difficulties here, Peter. Let's get to it. Talk about the economy. One thing I want to bring up here, I want to start with this. President Trump announcing he may levy new tariffs again, 25%, on some cars coming in from the EU because they're not playing ball with the original trade deal. I think, Peter, a lot of Americans, especially in the forgotten parts of America, the Rust Belt, still have a huge interest and are wondering what largely beyond that even are going on with tariffs, reshoring of manufacturing. Talk to us about that.
Bob, tariffs are the great success story of this administration. Just this week, we saw in yet another report, the GDP report, that we're having a surge in imports, follow me here, that are capital equipment, which are going to be used to build factories right here in America to provide good factory jobs and higher wages. And that's what we're seeing across the economy. It's robust. What I really want to get to you on, Bob, though, is this problem with Jerome Powell. He's the Fed chair now. His term expires as chair on May 15th at midnight. And that son of a bitch, and I don't use those terms lightly, is saying that he's going to stay on the board after he leaves his chair. That hasn't happened since 1948. The guy who stayed then was actually competent. Powell is not, and what he is going to do is declare war on a financial system by being a shadow Fed chair against Kevin Warsh. He's going to try to mobilize the other three members who are Biden appointees and create civil war and chaos, politicize the Fed. And if he were competent, Bob, if he were competent, you might have an argument, but he's not. Right. Listen. The worst chairman since him was Arthur Burns in the early 70s, who unleashed the stagflation of the 70s. Powell made the same mistake. He got on his knees in front of Biden, kept interest rates low, let that hyperinflation explode, got reappointed, and now he's making life miserable, not just for the Trump administration, but for everybody in this country.
Well, why do you think he's staying on?
Get thee gone, Jay.
Yeah, why do you think?
I know the guy. He's prissy, he's arrogant, he's stupid at one level, and he's just anti-Trump, and he's just preening around and going to show the President of the United States who's boss. Well, that ain't going to work. In the process, he's going to destroy a lot of our financial system because, look, 3 blunders in his term, 3 major blunders. In the first term, I was there. He held interest rates. He put them up too high, too fast, choked off a lot of growth. And then the Biden regime, he unleashed that incredible hyperinflation. And now he hasn't lowered interest rates fast enough. People, look at the housing market. Mortgages are too high. Look at it's just wrong. And this guy thinks he's bigger than the office, bigger than the country, and it's an ego that is out of control, and he needs to get out of there. And I hold the legacy media accountable for this because it's unequivocal. Jay Powell's record as Fed chair is the worst since Arthur Burns and one of the worst in history. And they don't call him into account. They say they got to have him there. This is the liberal anti-Trump folks. They say they got to have him there for Fed independence. Well, guess what? Powell was the guy who was creating Fed dependence, partisanship, because when he wanted to get reappointed, he prostrated himself in front of Joe Biden, kept interest rates too low, and we got hyperinflation. Jay got reappointed, and now he's making our life miserable.
Peter, I'm not going to disagree with you at all on that. The inflation under the previous administration, and I talked about this extensively before they left office, was going to be the bane of the next couple years. And now we're seeing it. People's savings have run out. And all of a sudden, you're in America, the same house is almost double the price. Plus, you can't afford a mortgage. Everything, groceries, it all went up. Gas prices were up. And huge problem. And then to get prices back down, it's so difficult. And I don't know if people realize that. It's a big mess. But we got to leave it there. Peter Navarro, thanks for coming back. Sorry about earlier.
You know, everybody's reporting the same stories, the same spin. You turn the channel, it's always the same. But not us. We're different. We report the real news. No spin, just the facts. Turn to us, and you won't turn back.
Tune in to Rob Schmitt Tonight on Newsmax.